we have united, then no one can take it from us. My precious.
Just 1 minute. No rest, my precious, or someone collects our number 2.
Did I say precious? I meant horrendous. Time to go play Street Fighter 6. You are always going to be trash in my book, but I forgive you, because at least you tried to be fun. So, enjoy your retirement. Still hate you though. Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis me once again. Welcome back to another video game review. Yeah, after Tears of the Kingdom, I decided to play this. And that is, of course, Lord of the Rings Gollum, which has already gained so much infamy already. And I played it, but games like this are the reason GameFly exists. I don't have to pay full price, and I don't have to keep it forever. It's always an option. And I finally finished it, so now I never have to play it again. Before I can remove it from my lives, I want to talk about it. In this game, just like the title suggests, you play as Gollum. After the events of getting his precious stolen by Bilbo Baggins, he has a journey of his own, long before he met up with Frodo to retrieve his lost item. He then sets out on an adventure to try to escape so he can continue his journey of searching for his precious. He meets up with different characters, and he has some companions along the way that really don't do anything. But throughout this journey, you are going to do multiple different things. You are going to walk, you are going to jump, you are going to climb, hide from enemies, fall and fail, fall, fail, fall, fail, fall, fail. That's what you're going to be doing throughout this game. Oh, and throw stones to distract people during stealth. Now, this game has been in development for I believe, like 4 years. You think that there would be more time spent put into this game, but I think it was originally supposed to be out last year, and look, when you clicked on this video, you probably knew that I thought the game was terrible, but I am not exaggerating when I say this, but this is one of the most painful gaming experiences of my life. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It was way worse. Like, I don't even know where to begin. Like, as soon as I started up, like, the graphics themselves left a very bad impression. I mean, Gollum himself just looks horrendous, even though he already does look horrendous, but he's supposed to, but like he looks like if Gollum had a kid with Alita Battle Angel. Like, seriously. Now, now look, Gollum is an iconic character, one of the most famous in the entire franchise. He was weird, he was creepy, but that's what made him so unique. The fact that he argues with himself a lot, because he was originally called Smeagol, and he originally had a good side to him, but ever since that ring just ruined his life, or made his life somewhat better because he worships it, pretty much throughout the movies, he was pretty much the example of what will happen if someone gets way too obsessed with the ring. Now look, he is a fantastic character. Andy Serkis stole the show with his outstanding performance, giving one of the best CGI character roles of all time. Same with Caesar from the Planet of the Apes. Now, did he really need his own game? I mean, you got this gigantic roster of memorable characters from the movies, Gandalf and all the swords people. Like, why did they decide to give Gollum a game? He cannot fight back. All he can do is run away and try to avoid being detected. This felt a lot more like a chore simulator than an actual game because I got so frustrated. This game is hard, but for all the wrong reasons. The game is divided into 10 chapters, 10 long, boring, dull chapters, and it tries to tell a decent story, but the story, most of it doesn't really go anywhere. All that really happens is that you go from point A to point B and nothing else. That's all you do throughout the game. You just walk and what I said earlier. Walk, run, jump, and apparently Gollum has rabbit's feet apparently because he can jump so high. That honestly isn't a good thing because you're going to fall a lot. Like in terms of gameplay, here's an example of what you're going to be doing throughout. You're going to be doing that like 9,000 times before you make it to the end because of how bad the controls are. Like, I was shocked. They can be so clunky and so tedious. Like, when you jump and miss your landing, I don't really entirely blame it on yourself because you do try. Like, players do tend to try hard trying to get to that next area, but apparently Golem's movement is so sensitive that it just became painful to get into the next area. And you're going to be restarting checkpoints a lot. And it just got to the point where I was just so frustrated. And what was worse is the stealth sections. The stealth sections, oh man, there is a lot of them. There was this one section involving Gandalf where you had to move close to him in order to escape. But there's also all these other guards surrounding you. I spent like an hour trying to get past it. And it was painful. It got to the point where I almost thought about quitting the game because you don't get anything in the end. I should also mention that the gameplay doesn't get any better. There's no skill tree system, there's no perks, there's no RPG elements, because it's set in an RPG-like setting, but there is nothing that makes the gameplay different. It gets insanely repetitive. Like, I don't know, like, did they try? It just had me thinking, did they even try to make this game just a little bit fun? Because I couldn't find a single redeeming factor to the gameplay. It just gets worse as it progresses. And you don't care for the story, even though it really tries. So if the gameplay isn't good and the story isn't good, there's absolutely no reason to play the game. Unless you're a massive fan of the character Gollum. But, it would have made more sense if they made like a TV series or a made-for-TV movie involving the character, but a game? It just begs the question, why give him a game at all if all he's gonna do is just, I don't know how to put it, be like completely useless? Because that's what he feels like. He feels like a character that's useless for games. A character that can't even fight back. I mean, the only truly violent thing he did in the movies was bite off Frodo's finger. Does he do anything like that in the game? No. But the closest thing that he does for combat is sneaking up behind enemies and strangling them. Though I didn't do that throughout a lot of the game because it really didn't matter. Because you can just move right past them. Now, there is another mechanic where Smeagol and Gollum argue with each other, and you have to side with which one, and you have to make that character win the argument. But there really isn't a point, because once it comes to the end, you're really not going to care, because it felt pointless. It doesn't do anything to change up the style of the gameplay, or it doesn't change anything from the storyline whatsoever. All that happens is, I don't know. I didn't even. Are there multiple endings? If there are, then whoop de doo. But there's no replayability of this game. Now, there was actually a time where I was trying to solve a puzzle. You can do puzzles as well, but most of them are basic and most of them are just annoying. There aren't a whole lot of them, but there was this one puzzle with a major bug that almost made me quit because I felt like the game just broke. It's during this mirror puzzle where I have to spin around a picture and I kept getting stuck in that area and there was no way for me to move. I restarted over and over and over and over. Like, there are multiple bugs that can just break the game and just prevent you from going on. And yes, I did run into glitches, but are I didn't run into like super major ones. That's actually kind of sad. I'm sure more people out there who have played this game have had issues like that, but for me, I kind of wish I was one of those people because I would have more to say about it. But no, the game was just extremely boring and tedious, and I could not find a single redeeming factor to it. And the characters too, the ones that they interact with, they they're just there pretty much. I mean, Gandalf's in the game not for a major period of time, but he had no major role and just felt pretty pointless other than you just telling the whole story to him. Like, but you often forget about that because I don't even know. I'm running out of things to say, and I had quite a bit, but I'm just forgetting about what happens in the game because it was just so boring. Like, the platforming, it is not satisfying at all once you get to the next area. It pretty much just feels like a punishment. Pretty much. There is no fun to be had in this game. There's no interesting characters. There's no good story, no combat. It doesn't get better from there. You can't change any of the settings to make the game easier. It's a chore simulator. Pretty much just change the title to Chore of the Rings Gollum. And I don't exaggerate when I say this was one of the worst gaming experiences of my life. It's 2023 and games like this are still being made. A massive Triple H title just becomes an absolute hassle. And it's a single player game too, and that's sad because single player games are supposed to still be alive, which they are. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom, wow, that was fantastic. And there are a lot of great single player games to come out this year. Hi-Fi Rush, Resident Evil 4, just play those and just, skip out on this. Even if you're a little bit curious, just save that $60 because it is way too overpriced. 12 hours trying to get past it, that's pretty much how the average player is going to get past it, but I spent like 15 due to how much I failed throughout, but I don't really blame myself. With the clunky controls and the AI that can sense your movement very easily, it just had me wondering, do they want you to fail? Do they want you to restart it? And the game over screen is, while it is pretty fast, all that happens is once you die, the game over screen just pops up. Like, it's very anticlimactic. But hey, there is one redeeming factor to this entire game, okay? The best part of this whole thing is when the end credits roll. That way, I never had to sit through it again. So, there's that. It's not a positive, but I'm just thankful that I was able to get past it. But in the end, guys, Lord of the Rings Gollum felt like it had no care put into it whatsoever. And the developers did apologize about this, but even if they did try to polish it better, it doesn't hide the fact that the gameplay is boring, repetitive, dull, and it just made you wish you were going into more combat-like settings. But because it's a game where you play as a character that is not experienced well with combat at all, it just begs the question, why even bother making a game about him? Gollum might be an iconic character, but he did not need his own video game. You have all these characters, and they just wasted on a character that I guess they just put him into this game because he's an iconic character. But yeah, I bet if the real version of Gollum, the real Andy Serkis version of Gollum, saw this game, I feel like instead of worshipping it and calling it as precious, he would just do what Frodo would do and just throw it into the lava because I feel like that's how most people are going to feel about it. I was trying really hard to give this game a slightly higher score, but I just couldn't find anything. It's like the game was begging for me to give it a low score. Like, I just couldn't find a single redeeming thing. If the story sucks, if the gameplay sucks, if the characters are bland and generic, then there really isn't a point. Let me tell you, if you want a good Lord of the Rings game full of combat and has Gollum in it, but you don't actually get to play as him, then just play Shadow of Mordor or any other good Lord of the Rings game, because this has no reason to exist whatsoever. But hey, I'm done talking about it. Now, excuse me, I have to go play Street Fighter 6 because I bought that game right after my copy of this game arrived in the mail. But hey, just leave the game at the store, use that $60 to buy a game like that, or save your money and wait till it gets to 70 and buy Tears of the Kingdom or whatever, because it's pretty much more than worth it for those games. But for this game, I had more fun bringing all this stuff over here and trying to sort things out than I did with this game. So, but anyways, I've talked about this game way too long. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be seeing Transformers Rise of the Beasts with my friends this Thursday, and I'll have a review out, obviously, because it's a big movie. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.